Welcome to the Lead Generation Podcast. I've got Mimi Du from Yelp with us today. We're going to be talking about all things Yelp and reviews, which are intriguing to me, and I know a lot of you as well. So I wanted to bring her back. She actually was a speaker at Lead Generation World in Denver just a number of weeks ago, and I wanted to bring her back because Yelp is actually a really important piece for a lot of small and medium-sized companies, whether you're a solar guy or insurance or mortgage. Figuring out how to really utilize Yelp to be successful, I think, is an important topic to discuss. So I hope you think so too and enjoy it. Let's go ahead and bring Mimi into the show now. Mimi, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. So glad to be here.
So you, how long have you been with Yelp? About 4 years now?
A little over 4 years. September will actually be 5 years. It's weird to think that it's actually been so long.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to actually see the company transition through so many different phases. But luckily it's in the positive direction.
Yeah. What were you doing? What led you to Yelp? What were you doing before that?
Yeah, so I went to school at the University of Arizona and I took a year off, decided the music industry was where I wanted to go. But while going on tour and shooting concerts and playing tour manager was really fun, my mom had another theory of, hey, you should probably go get a job. And I decided to follow where all my friends went, which was over at Yelp. So I actually started out in Yelp sales. So if business owners have ever gotten a phone call from Yelp, that was actually me probably way back in the day, almost 5 years ago, calling them and trying to understand their businesses a little bit better and helping them get a little bit more coverage on Yelp when people were searching for their businesses in their local area.
Yeah. And Yelp's like a really, really important factor for a lot of businesses, small and large, with regards to reviews. And I mean, I use Yelp almost daily, regularly, looking for places to go eat generally. And but it's really important to look at all those reviews. But I'm kind of curious about what you mentioned about sort of the evolution of Yelp over the last 4 years. Just kind of share like what has that evolution been over the last 5 years that you've seen with Yelp?
Yeah, so I mean, I would categorize it in two ways. One being the product side, right? What business owners are seeing, what we have to offer them. What I think is really cool is that business owners have had a lot to say about Yelp. They have had a lot of feedback, and I'm very happy to say now, with my sample size of almost 5 years, that I have actually seen it in action. That when business owners are asking for something, and if it makes sense, Yelp will listen and we will try to implement it. That's how we had started when we did advertising. You used to have to sign up for 12 months. Which was the norm back in the day. If you wanted to sign up for advertising, you would sign up on a contractual basis. But as time goes on, business owners wanted something a little bit more flexible. So now there's no term contract. You can go day by day and set your budget however you want. The other way that I would see it is I I really like working for a company that actually stands for something. What I think is really cool is that I think it's easy for a company to say, hey, all these business owners are willing to offer us a whole bunch of money to alter their reviews, but Yelp takes a huge stand against that, just because we put the consumer's trust at the very, very top of our priority list. So when it comes to making sure that we are doing the best that we can, we're taking very good progressive measures to make sure that, again, consumer trust is at the very top. Like, I don't know if you've seen us actually put health grades on restaurants, making that public on Yelp, or even when the whole situation and making sure that if people wanted to know their choices when it came to alternative birth methods, they would be able to find that accurate information on Yelp.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always great to see companies, be, have certain moral standards and how they run their business. Tell me a little bit about the search sort of results in Yelp. So, because you touched on advertisement. There's advertisements and sponsored links, and there's sort of the organic, I guess you would say, listings. Tell me a little bit how those are, how Yelp sort of puts those in order. But how do you? Because it seems to be relative. I don't know if it's always like the highest review, or if it's the most reviews, or what it is. Are you able to share that?
Next to how do I get rid of my bad reviews, that's probably the
Yeah.
question I get the most is how do the organic searches work? And the answer to that is really simple. There isn't an exact word where I say, yes, like have the most reviews, you'll show up as number one. That's actually not the case. Um, because consumers are so nuanced now in knowing exactly what they want, that means that we on our end have to show them the most relevant search results. For example, you as a consumer may be different as me. As much as I would love to say that I will eat at Michelin star rated restaurants all the time, my budget, my daily budget for eating doesn't really allow that. So me as a consumer, my searches are going to vary versus someone who, let's say, has much more disposable income than I do. So the way that the organic searches work is it is based upon how that person who is doing that search. So I hear all the time business owners calling me saying, hey, I'm doing a search for my business. I'm showing up as number one on my search, but on my friends, I'm not showing up as number one.
Oh, interesting.
And I'll say, okay, well, where is your friend? Is your friend with you, or are you on the phone with your friend doing the search together? Because sometimes your geolocation can affect that. Yelp isn't going to try to show you a business that's 35 miles away from you when you're saying that you're hungry right now.
Right. Right. So, a lot of the, people you were speaking to at the conference were either mortgage companies or insurance agents or agencies, solar companies. There weren't restaurants. Let's put it that way.
Right.
um, how do how do companies like that sort of be more successful on Yelp? Is it really just kind of boiling down to the reviews, or what are the sort of things that they could do to leverage Yelp from their standpoint?
Yeah, well, the first things first, right? I always say any type of business, regardless of what industry that you are in, it always comes down to customer service and the quality of your product or services. You could have the best marketing in the world and you can get all the leads in the world and they could be giving you money, but at the very end of the day, if you don't live up to your mission statement or again, the quality of your products and your services, your business will probably fail. Secondly, leveraging Yelp, one is to get involved with Yelp, meaning have updated information. You have to remember, like Mike, you told me that you use Yelp. When you use Yelp, are you more so looking at businesses that you frequent over and over again, or are you going there to look for information?
It's usually for new stuff. I'm trying to find somewhere new to go eat, or and I'm looking for reviews in a certain location that I'm not necessarily familiar with. And so that's generally my number one thing. And then it's finding the information to obviously go there and or call.
Exactly. So, also, I don't know if my connection is bad right now because you're frozen on my end. Can you
It's
hear me?
okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So the way that you had explained the consumer journey is exactly how the majority of people who are going onto Yelp are using it. So if you are a business and you are putting information on there, the likelihood of your existing clients landing onto your page is going to be very, very low because again, if they already knew who you were, they knew your phone number, they knew your address, they would already call you. But if someone goes onto Yelp and they're saying, hey, I'm looking for a mortgage broker, they're going to type in words like mortgage broker in their local city. And they're going to see a list of mortgage brokers and they're probably going to click onto a few to compare them and utilize the information that they find on Yelp to help them make a better purchasing decision. So, as a business owner, put yourself in the shoes of your ideal consumer. What is it that you would like to see and what questions do you think that you would have? And just make sure that your Yelp page answers all of those questions.
So one thing I just did while we're talking was I went on Yelp and I just searched up for insurance agent. And what I found was interesting, which I've never done this before, is that there's actually a request a quote button on the right there on the listing,
Hmm.
and then it redirects to the person's own Yelp page. It looks like. Tell me a little bit about this process.
Yeah, so what's cool about the request a quote button or message the business feature is that it's completely free, which is really awesome because again, right, the person who's doing the search, they're not searching for insurance agent for fun. I mean, in this case we are, in this example we are. But again, as a potential client, someone who's typing that in, that's a very specialized search. They're not going to do that search, click onto request a quote because they're bored. Um, But what I will say about the request a quote feature is, like I said, you do have to keep up with it. I highly recommend that you download the Yelp for Business Owners app, because if you do get a message, it will pop up on your phone like a text message. And if you do not respond to those messages or mark them as read, Yelp will actually shut off that feature from your business page. And the reason being is because, again, we want to be useful to consumers. It's not going to be useful to consumers if we're connecting them to businesses that don't respond to their requests.
Got it. Yeah, because that was going to be my follow-up question, was whether, is that emailed or is that an in-app messenger type of feature? So they have to log in and check for their messages. Is that accurate?
No, so you can actually set it up to route to your email. Some business owners don't like that though. It's, again, it's how you do your business. So if you like to check your email and you like to receive it there, fantastic. I always say have the Yelp for Business Owners app on your phone, because you're probably always on your phone anyways. It's better to receive that message and to get back to that person ASAP, because some people, like, you never know. There's this saying that we have, that time kills all deals. You want to make sure that you're not letting too much time go by where another competitor could get to that client first.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're responding immediately to those messages, I mean, the likelihood that you're going to close them is it's much stronger, obviously. And I'm surprised if a business owner doesn't want to check their email. But
You would be surprised.
yeah,
Like, some business owners, they prefer to go the old fashioned route, which, again, like, that's their prerogative. I always say whatever works for you, definitely do it. But I always try to add in the perspective that if it costs a little amount of time and it costs no money, why not invest that time into it to learn it and see what it can yield you?
yeah. And what's the old-fashioned route?
Waiting for someone to call them,
Yeah,
and referrals, which are great. I would say that referrals are the best reflection of a success of a business, because if
sure.
someone wants to go out of their way to find you more business, that's really great. But again, I've heard good and bad stories about referrals, where someone will get a referral, but they don't know anything about that referral, and it could lead the opposite direction, where they were not a good client.
Yeah.
They were not the ideal clients.
Yeah, no, that's so I noticed now I did a mortgage rate search, and I'm noticing that some listings have the contact agent and some don't. So that's obviously something you have to set up on your listing.
That's the same feature as request a quote. We just
Right.
phrase it in a different way so it's industry specific. So
Yeah.
again, if you don't see the contact agent button highlighted on their Yelp page, it's probably because they haven't responded to any quotes, or they haven't claimed their Yelp for Business Owners listing.
Oh wow. I mean, there's some. I mean, there's like I the mortgage, like I said, rates, and there's I mean, the top three or two listings don't have contact rate. I mean, it seems like a ton of lost opportunity here for
It
these
is,
mortgage
but
companies.
like I said, some businesses like to
Yeah,
do it differently. Where, for example, I have a plumber out here in the Bay Area who, like, God bless him, gets so much business from Yelp. He
yeah.
said that he purposefully turned off his request to quote feature, because he would rather people just call into his call center that he already spends money on, and that way it gives him better tracking. So it
Well, that
really
makes
just
sense.
depends on how you like to do your business.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get that. I get that. I wonder. It'll be interesting to see how this continues to shape up because one of the things that we were talking about at Lead Generation World was the how companies need to sort of integrate their communication strategy and communicate with them on that whatever platform that consumers on. So whether it's Yelp, Facebook Messenger, whatever it is that they're reaching out to, it's always seems to be the idea that companies need to communicate there instead of asking them to continue to go down towards the business.
My personal recommendation is, like, you have to think about how you like running your business, and you have to consider where these clients are coming from, because just to give you an example, I had to go get my my dress altered. I'm going to be a bridesmaid in a wedding, and I'd never gotten like a dress altered before. I'm not that much of a girly girl, believe it or not. So this was uncharted territory for me, but I went onto Yelp. I found a really great tailor and alteration spot, literally half a block from me. I go in, we start to chit chat, and the first thing she says to me, she doesn't know where I work, she just knows my name. She knew my phone number, but she said, "How did you find me? You found me on Yelp, didn't you?" And I said, "How did you know that I found you on Yelp? That's really weird to just say out of the blue."
Yeah.
And she said, the Yelp people, they're very interesting. They're very different than the Google people. And
Huh.
in asking her that, I asked her how she came to the conclusions that she came to. It's just because she was in business a long time and she knew where to spend her time on focusing to get more of the customers that she wanted, like, you know, bubble burst right there. She loves Yelp customers. She says that they come in knowing exactly what they want. They've already taken a look at her business. They knew exactly where she's at and the type of work that she does, so that when they need to reference the type of work that she does, they can just show her the pictures that were already on there. So if you are running a business, think about how long you've been in business and where your favorite clients have come from and those attributes that they have, and try to see if there's a platform online that can match that. I think Yelp does a really great job just because it is very targeted, but that's not to say that other platforms aren't good at all. Like, you as the business owner just have to make that decision yourself on where you'd like your clients to come from.
Yeah. Now, so that leads me to the question is, what's the demographic on Yelp? Is it tend to skew younger or older, or is it pretty balanced across the board?
So if you ever want to see, we actually update those statistics every quarter. Just go onto Google and type in Yelp fact sheet. But the last time I checked, it's almost an even 33 split, which I think is really
Huh.
cool
Yeah.
because Yelp isn't necessarily it's not necessarily divided by age. It's more so divided by who has money.
Mhm.
Because again, you have to think about the type of person who's opening up Yelp. They're not opening up Yelp because they're bored. They're opening up Yelp because they decided that they're going to purchase something in a specific local area, but they don't know where. And no one's going to look up a business if they don't have the money to spend on it.
Yeah, so let's kind of dive into. I'm curious now about the demographics and what actually takes place on Yelp from a holistic point of view. Now, I mentioned that I look for restaurants generally, but obviously there are. I just did a search for mortgage brokers and insurance agents, and obviously you mentioned plumbers and dry cleaners. What is the most searched sort of field in Yelp? Is it restaurants?
I would have to take a look back at the fact sheet, but last I checked, it was retail,
Okay.
which I think was a very interesting fact, just because when you think of retail, that includes not just clothes, but you think of like toy shops, video game stores, anything that just sells anything, right? Even auto repair shops that have a store attached to it, which I thought was very interesting. People are typing in not just broad searches anymore. Like, let's say, for example, um, if they were looking for an auto repair shop, they're not just typing in auto repair shop, they're typing in Honda repair, Toyota repair, uh, or they're even typing in specific products. If you even go into beauty and spa, people are typing in S&S dipping powder for nail salons because they have to know, like, does this nail salon offer that, or do they only do gel? So
Mhm.
as a business owner, I always say, think again, put yourself in the shoes of your consumer. What is it that you think that they're typing for?
Yeah.
Before you had done the search for insurance agent, I mean, if it were me doing that search, what type of insurance am I searching
Yeah.
for, you know?
Right. I would have searched life insurance, whatever that specific item is that I was looking for.
I mean, if I was an insurance agent and I wanted to use Yelp to see my competition, heck yeah, I'm gonna be typing in insurance agent.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, probably some pretty good competitive analysis there to be done. So I just pulled up the Yelp fact sheet on Google, and the couple things stand out to me. One is the income breakdown. 51% of the individuals using it have 100,000 or more annual salary. 24% are 60 to 100, and then 25% is less than 60. But just over half have 100,000 or more, which seems like to me some pretty good targets, some pretty good candidates or prospects for just about any business.
Right. And that ties into the fact when I said before, right? You have to remember, you have to have some type of disposable income or some means to be able to purchase the services or the products that you're searching for online. Otherwise, you're just doing the search for fun, which it still may work out in the future. For example, I have it bookmarked that I get to go to French Laundry up in Napa, which is Thomas Keller's restaurant. Is it in my budget right now? Not necessarily. I'm living in San Francisco and paying way too much for my studio. But it's an aspirational goal. And I love taking a look at the page on Yelp and seeing how that menu has evolved over time.
Yeah. The other thing I think is, I think probably the scariest thing, and I think you mentioned it earlier, is the bad reviews, right? There's two questions that people ask you all the time.
Hmm.
One was, I can't remember what my question was, but then also, how do you get rid of bad reviews, And so one thing I'm looking at here on the star rating distribution is that about 50% of the reviews are 5-star reviews. And then, it does say 16% are 1-star reviews, but
Hmm.
the majority of them, let's see, 60% of the reviews are 4-star or more. So I think, maybe the fear of the bad reviews is more than, or not just, or maybe not justified, or
I mean, I wouldn't say that it's not justified, right? You have to remember,
yeah.
as a business owner, especially a small business owner, um, imagine you didn't have a business. Imagine it was just you, and someone comes up to you and they tell you something that they don't like about you personally.
Oh
Or
yeah.
even if you're at a job and your boss gives you some feedback, anybody who says that they like feedback, they are lying. I'm going to call that out and say that they are lying.
Yeah.
Because in that moment that you receive the feedback, um, especially if it's constructive feedback, it always stings in the very beginning. But I always create the analogy of, like, let's say you have spinach in your teeth. Would you rather walk around talking to so many people with spinach in your teeth and no one's going to tell you, and you're thinking, wow, like my smile is really great,
Right.
but at the end of the night, you find out you have spinach in your teeth, you won't feel good. But let's say the very first person that you talk to tells you that you have spinach in your teeth. Luckily now someone has told you the rest of the night that you talk to people, you can rest assured knowing that you're going to have a spinach free smile.
Yeah.
So knowing that, be open to feedback. It's okay to be hurt by feedback. But the good news is, just like you said, on Yelp, the majority of the reviews are neutral to very, very positive. And we do have the statistics that show, if you ever want to see the study, I can show you the study. But consumers in general, not just on Yelp, consumers in general trust 4.5 and 4-star rated businesses more than they do 5-star rated businesses,
Yeah.
because they realize opinions are purely subjective. What they read online is not objective. What one person may say about your business is not going to be true when everyone else is saying really great things. So they really want to go out and try that business themselves and make their own judgments.
So along the lines of reviews, I do have a number of questions, and I won't take too much of your time today. But what's the best practice for addressing a bad review, and then how does that bad review generally affect a listing?
So this is going to be with the assumption that the business owner is very much involved and they want to have a voice. We do have the tools necessary for you to be able to have a voice in that narrative. So my recommendation, and what Yelp says, is to always respond. And the protocol here is within 24 hours, because that's the critical moment in which someone has just written that review. So you know that the likelihood of them seeing your response is going to be a lot higher. But also, it gives you the opportunity to actually do something about it. So if you do get a critical review, this is the one that is the legitimate one, the one where you as the business owner is reading it and your heart sinks because you say, wow, that was true. I was there. That was not the best business and customer experience that I could give. I would respond to that publicly, and you do that by logging into your Yelp for Business account. And if I haven't mentioned it before, you log in utilizing biz.yelp.com. So that's biz.yelp.com. And when you go in there and you read the review, you can respond to it either publicly or directly. So when you respond to it publicly, what's great about that is that, one, you're addressing the person. And definitely respond to it diplomatically, but you're also talking to the potential clients that are landing onto your page, the people who have never done business with you. And if they see that you have a really great reputation, let's say 4 to 4.5 stars, and they see this critical review, they know that on the off chance that they don't have a good experience with you, the likelihood of you doing something about it to make it better is going to be very high because they see that you responded to this review within 24 hours saying, hey, I recognize what happened. I would love to get more information from you. Let's see what we can do to make things right. So that's an opportunity that most business owners don't see. Usually they see a critical review as a very bad thing and it's the end of all their business. But really it's this beautiful spotlight that I think that business owners should take a look at, that they should take advantage of to really showcase how great their customer service is and not just having other people say it's great.
Okay, so how does that affect? How do bad reviews affect placement in listings?
So it doesn't. So reviews in my opinion, because I don't know this for a fact, I don't know how the organic searches work. I just know
Okay.
it's how relevant it is
Yeah.
to the person who is searching. But if I had to guess, and just based upon my opinion, it has no say in your ranking and in the organic searches.
Got it. So basically, from your point of view, listings are fairly keyword centric, potentially, or content centric, or location or geo targeted, and they're shown up, in a specific order, of course. Um, but bad reviews shouldn't necessarily change that order.
Correct. The content of the review may. For example, remember when I had said that some consumers will type in specific words as opposed to just a general industry or genre of what they're looking for. They're
Yeah.
looking for something specific. So, in the example that I had used before about SNS dipping powder, if I were to type in SNS dipping powder, I've noticed that when I go onto Yelp and you scroll down in all the searches, nail salons will pop up, which is great, but they will bold specifically SNS dipping powder because that's what I had written in specific reviews. Now, if a nail salon had a negative review that specifically wrote those words in, that would be the highlight of one of the things that I read. So again, it's based upon relevancy and not so much about rating.
Got it. Got it. Yeah, I'm actually just taking a look at. I'm doing the same search, SNS dipping powder, not knowing what the heck that is. Um, but yeah, I see. The first one is a sponsored result. It looks like with a request an appointment, which seems awesome. And then it goes down from there, and there's a mix of reviews. In fact, there's somebody that has 62 5-star reviews, but they're ranked fourth. There's someone above them with 11 reviews, and they're four. So it's clearly not necessarily just based on rank.
Exactly. So again, you can even do the search from your laptop and in your location. If you don't even type in your city, you can type in a zip code, you can type in a county. Like whenever I go home to Orange County, I type in Orange County because I actually have a car down there and I can drive wherever I want. Whereas here in San Francisco, I'm going to be searching in my neighborhood because I don't have a car and I don't know how to use public transportation here
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah. So it seems to me is that the best way to be successful here is to have a relatively keyword rich profile and reviews that are within target of your product, services, and location.
I mean, if we were just mutually exclusive talking about people who are hopping on a Yelp looking for people in your industry in your local area, then
Mhm.
yes. But I say again, Yelp is just one
Yeah.
facet of marketing. I always say just look at your business as a whole. Definitely put customer service first because
Sure.
business owners always ask me, how do I get more reviews? How do I get more reviews? One, make your presence known. For example, we have stickers that say find us on Yelp, or even in your email signature, putting in check us out on Yelp, check us out on Facebook, check us out on Google, whatever it may be. You're not soliciting for reviews in that way, but you're letting people know that you're there, which I think is really important. And then the next part is, like I said, that customer service aspect. People will want to write about their really good experiences because they want other people to have that same experience too, to prevent them from having bad experiences or going somewhere that would prevent them, or having that experience where won't necessarily have to spend more money to fix their last problem that they ran into if they had just done a simple internet search.
Yeah. Okay, so last thing I want to ask you about is the sponsored and the application where somebody can log in and create ads. Um, is that something that's um, self created, like almost like Google Ads, or is that something that is created on their behalf, or how does one utilize Yelp from a paid standpoint?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the first thing that I always recommend business owners do is just logging into their page first. And like I said, a lot of business owners know that Yelp exists, which is what they do to search for businesses. But claiming your Yelp for Business page, you go to biz.yelp.com, find your business, claim your business, and get familiarized with the free tools first. Because yes, while it is very simple in the sense where it does work just like we are the industry standard now, where if you want to advertise online, it is set your own budget, you do it all yourself. But I say, please familiarize yourself with the platform first. Otherwise, you're going to be setting up a daily budget and spending it on something that you don't know if it's working or not. Too many business owners sign up for advertising overall and they throw dollars at it and they think that because they throw dollars at it, something magical is going to happen. But the littlest amount of time of work that you can put into just understand how Yelp works will yield you the best returns in any dollar amount that you put into Yelp advertising.
Yeah. So, how does one, with regards to customer service, obviously you're pretty awesome with providing all this information to me today, but as a owner of one of these just random listings, what kind of resources do they have is it as simple as contacting, the help, or do they actually have like sort of a representative that they can reach out to?
So they do have a representative that they can reach out to. However, we do have a lot of resources online. If business owners, let's say, for example, no one's going to be in the office at 11 o'clock at night when you finally get home and get to sit down in front of your computer.
Yeah.
Lots of really great resources online. The blog is a really great help. So if you just look up the Yelp blog, there's a section specifically for business owners. We even have really cool events. So, for example, if there are any business owners in the Bay Area that would like to come to our local business marketing summit that we're hosting next month,
Oh,
they're
great.
more than welcome to. And what we really try to do is the business outreach efforts that we have is to let business owners know that they don't have to be alone in running a business because we're very much pro small and medium sized businesses and we want to be able to give them the resources to be successful. And if they do have those questions, they can reach out to me directly. They can reach out to really pretty much anyone at Yelp directly, and they will put you in the right place.
So tell me about that event first before I give out your information for them to
Yeah.
all contact you.
Right.
When's the event and where is it at, and how does one sign up to go?
So, first of all, if you would like to sign up to go, definitely email me, mimi at yelp.com. Very easy email, MIMI at
Nice,
yelp.com. But the event is actually going to take place at our headquarters here in San Francisco at 140 New Montgomery. It is going to be an afternoon event, so definitely if you have things to do in the beginning of the day, it's going to take place on Tuesday, March 24th. Starting at 1:30, you'll have opportunities to network with other really great Bay Area business owners, but also you'll get to sit onto two really awesome panels. One being just SEO marketing, reputation management, email marketing, and really just online marketing in general for one panel. And then the other panel is going to be more so business owner centric. We have three really, I mean, I don't know if I can say kick-ass business owners, but they're kick-ass
yeah,
business owners.
definitely.
And then just to talk about their experience about starting their business, some of the tools that they've used on Yelp that they found to be successful. You don't necessarily have to advertise on Yelp to be successful. So some of them are going to talk about that too.
That's awesome. That's a really great experience for people to be able to be a part of. So that's awesome. You're putting it
And
on.
the best part is that it's free.
That is a good. That is awesome. So okay, so they can email you at mimi at yelp.com for any questions regarding that event, or really just about anything, and you'll help them out and point them in the right direction. I think that's really helpful, and I appreciate you giving your email out to do that. Um, Otherwise, I think, gosh, there's so much probably within Yelp, and maybe we bring you back and we dig in even further with other questions. But I know it's getting in the afternoon and I can't take all your time. But so yeah, if anybody wants to reach out to Mimi, Mimi at yelp.com. Is there anything else you wanted to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, actually. So one thing that I really love doing is making sure that if business owners know exactly what they want, which is, hey, I'm really inspired to sign up for Yelp ads, I'm going to go do it. We always offer a code at the very end of every show that we speak at. So for your listeners, if they would like to just take a plunge and just try out Yelp ads, the code for them is going to be Q12020 digital 300. So again, that's Q12020 digital 300. And what that is that it's $300 upfront for you to try any Yelp advertising products that you want.
Awesome.
Purchase is necessary for that. Just think of it like a Netflix subscription where you get your first free trial. Then afterwards, if you decide to keep watching, which they always ask, you want to keep watching, that
Sure.
following month they will charge you. So if anybody has any questions about that, I'm more than happy to answer their questions about it on how to use it. But that code right there is just for anybody who's ready to take the plunge and just try Yelp ads right away.
Awesome. And if people are watching, I'll put it up on the screen after this, and so people can get it. But if people aren't, it was Q12020 digital 300.
Yep.
That's really awesome. Thank you for sharing that, and thank you for joining me today and talking about Yelp.
Of course. And if the listeners and the audience out there want me to come back, I would love to come back if they want to compile up a whole bunch of questions for round two. That's always the best way that I like to do it. So then that way, anybody who is tuning in, they've already seen this one right here, want to be able to answer any new questions that they have.
Awesome. Thanks for being a really great resource for us to ask and learn more about Yelp. Thanks, Mimi.
Absolutely my pleasure.